So, hello everyone, my name is Rustem, and very sorry that I am really late, 2 weeks almost, but anyway, let's end this online debate round. So, hearing the reasons from the government side, in my opinion, we should not ban the international adoption. Why? Looking at the opening government's arguments, first of all, they're talking about the risk of abuse and the cultural shock, which are actually extreme cases. Why? So, risk of abuse and cultural shock are actually the cases are significantly eliminated. The number of cases of risk of abuse and cultural shock are significantly eliminated because of the institutions like the UNICEF or UN or other institutions that work on the adoption, international adoption, which not only providing some bureaucrat that actually make it easy bureaucratically, but actually make the life of parents better because they train them, because they give some requirements like do you have a plan, how are you gonna adapt these children into the society, will be happy, why they will be happy, and so on and so forth. And I think that actually the money status, so I think it's not the problem today, the risk of abuse and cultural shock, why they're so often, and why even if it's rare, why it's so important to look at, they do not provide simply. But comparing the case on the one side, the extreme cases of risk of abuse and extreme cases of cultural shock or worse relationships, which are actually could be solved by psychologists or by institutions that and parents who are actually interested in the happier life of a child, they are simply adopting. And on the other side, we have an opportunity for children to have a better life, to have an opportunity to eat food whenever they want, to drink water whenever they want, and to have an opportunity to have a higher education or at least be happy and live a better life. And I think these opportunities are more significantly more important than these some cases of risk of abuse who actually do not justify the ban of international adoption. The next, hearing the arguments from the closing argument about the glamorization, I do not believe simply that, because you have a lot of burdens as a parent. You have a lot of burdens like the money burden. You have to teach the children. You have to make them happy. At least the institution will control this moment. At least the institution will give you requirements about what plan do you have while you will teach your child. How you're gonna teach, what knowledge you will give. And I think all of these requirements will eliminate any irrational people who are actually affected by the glamorization. But the glamorization, even if it happens, I think it's pretty good. When the Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt adopt the child from Congo, it makes the resonance in the society, and the press start not only typing about how Angelina Jolie is actually good, but actually they are justifying the choice of Angelina Jolie, talking about the bad conditions that these children were living. Talking about they didn't have a food, they lived in the corruption, they didn't have an opportunity to have education, any kind of education, and they lived in a poor conditions, in a poor country, in a poor regions. So I think the press will make the resonance, talking to the society that it is actually a problem, and your society could help them by donating to the charities, and actually makes people to think about these countries and to actually help to the charities to make the life of children in Congo by the donating better, to make the world a better place. The next, they're talking about that children are not adopted locally because of the international adoption. It's actually not the reason why they are not adopted. As I said before, it's pretty difficult to adopt, to teach, because you have to pass many requirements, while local adoption does not provide so many requirements. First of all, the next is that because of the bureaucratic cases also. But the next is that children, it will not make the local children more adopted, because first of all, closing government do not give an analysis how it's connected, and next, I will not think that parents will adopt international because it's really beneficial only for parents. It's actually their choice because they want to help the children from Congo, and they want. It's actually their choice, and I do not simply see any benefits only for parents, like the popularity, except for Angelina Jolie, who are actually popular not for international adoption, but because she's a movie star. And the next, they're talking about the corruption and the monetized business. I think it's not the case, because corruption, even if we will ban international adoption, there will still be kidnapped for child labor or for any other cases where the children could be used and make their life not happier. But comparing, even if it happens, comparing the cases where the international adoption will be banned, I think they will live in bad conditions, they will still live in poor regions, but they will not have an opportunity to be adopted. While we have international adoption, they will be kidnapped maybe, but they will live in better conditions. They will have an opportunity to be adopted by the parents from Western countries, for example, or for any other developed countries. So comparing with the opening opposition, and before that, and I think comparing the opportunities, the hope that we will give to these children, and the actually not reasonable arguments about the risk of abuse or glamorization, which actually plays on our side, and I think it's not reasonable to ban the international adoption for several reasons. As a position side, as a closing opposition, especially, we provided more analysis about what opportunities do they have and the comparison between in which worlds do they live before adoption and after adoption. We actually provided, as a closing opposition, the arguments about the hope that the children get, because they believe that they will be adopted from the parents from developed countries, and they will have an opportunity to higher education. I think it's more important to give them hope, comparing with the cultural exchange. So that's why I think the closing opposition wins this debate round. Thank you very much.